I was a freshman, and I had been placed in an upper-level Spanish class, and I was sinking terribly. And Dr. Oliver didn't know me from Adam. I was not a soccer player at that time, and he just came and helped me. It was the only reason I survived Spanish.
During that intro period, one of the intro leaders said, a Dr. Guy Oliver, who's the soccer coach, wants to talk to you because he understands that you played soccer at Woodward Academy. So he took me to his office, and we sat down for about a half hour, had a great conversation, and he said, well, we've got a place for you on the team, right then and there. And I made my decision to go to North Georgia at that time, and it's the best decision I've ever made, thanks to Dr. Oliver.
When I came to North Georgia, I had never played soccer before. He gave me a couple books to read, no real videos or films to look at that time.
Most of us had never played soccer. He was taking, raw material and trying to make soccer players out of us.
I can remember going out and Doc says, well, the grass is too high to play on Saturday. And I went and found the maintenance people, said, can I borrow your tractor? And we mowed the drill field.
At that time, we used to go down to Atlanta and play just amateur teams too.
There was a football team in Atlanta called the Atlanta Flames. And the coach was a guy by the name of Phil Woosman. And so Doc calls these people up and invites them to us. So we ended up one day with about 4 or 5 people who were English Premier League soccer players in the United States playing at Doc's house talking football. And we had half the team there, and then these 4 or 5 guys, and it was remarkable.
They decided that we wanted to move into the intercollegiate phase now. At what level was a big decision. So I think Dr. Oliver was the biggest person to push that through.
He pushed for an official soccer program and not a club program.
Beginning of the year, we play intercollegiate. In the spring, we go playing down in Atlanta, the amateur league. He was an amateur just like the rest of us, and that's what made it really fun.
And he was a player's coach. Everybody loved him. You knew when you messed up. You didn't have to tell him.
I would say he was a Renaissance man. We all looked up to him. I mean, this gray-haired, distinguished gentleman, and he knew so many languages, and he was so well-versed.
Doc was always stomping up and down the sidelines. He was always talking to us.
I guess the best language he had was that British accent and the words that came out from his mouth. He at times would talk to me and speak to me in Spanish while I was on the field or on the sidelines.
Doc would talk to him and he'd be in one language one minute. He might be in a different language the next minute. And one guy called him on it because whatever language he was speaking at the time, the guy knew that one. So at that point, Doc changed to a third language.
It would confuse the other teams and then he would just blurt out some stuff in some language and nobody knew what he was saying. Sometimes the players from the other team says, what does he say? He says, you don't want to know.
He knew when to change it so that they couldn't throw him out of the game.
We got some of the kids from the surveying class to survey the drill field. And we found out that one end was 10 feet higher than the other end. And so we changed the direction of the field. And so anytime that we had a home field, we made sure that the opposing team was running uphill the second half.
We just played mind games with the other team.
I think what I remember most is after he was not our coach, he'd still show up. We played on the drill field at that time. We would see him up away from the field, but he was still cheering us on. That's what I remember. When we had our 40th anniversary, he was there and there was a huge portrait taken of all the alumni that came back, and there he is in the middle of that portrait on the soccer field.
He came like a father figure while I was here on the campus.
Somebody I could come talk to that wasn't involved in the military, that I didn't have any real background with.
He lived up on the hill with his family, and he always welcomed students to his house.
I think what I would thank him the most for was for being who he was. Being so open, kind, generous, a mentor, and someone who easily convinced me that North Georgia was where I needed to go. He's the founder of soccer at North Georgia.
He is the pioneer, and he represents everything there is of where we're at now.
You need an anchor. And those of us who started it, we're part of the chain, but Doc was the anchor, because he took it beyond just us, that first cadre of 4 or 5, 6 years, and kept it going.
He was at the beginning. He'll always be on that field with us, or any team that plays for North Georgia.
Soccer in Georgia wouldn't be where it is today without soccer players that Doc had coached.
As I sit here, I'm coaching my 49th soccer team. It's because of Doc, what he meant. Soccer is just such a big part of my life, and that's Doc. If I can be half the man that he is, that's what it's all about.